Hi, viewers. This is your Diaspora Unplugged podcast, and I'm your host, G Silent of Gladys Book. In today's episode, I will be showcasing achievements of Nicholas Kikoyo, a financial advisor, and Tichaona Kadzinga, an IT expert, both based in Berlin. Right now, I'll start with Nicholas. Nicholas, welcome to the podcast. Please
Thank you
introduce
so much.
yourself. Yeah, please
Mhm.
introduce yourself, giving us a short bio of yourself and country of origin.
All right. Thank you so much, Gladys. Very happy to be here on your show and to share my story with your listeners. I come from Uganda and I came to Germany in 2019. In Uganda, it's where I did my finance studies. I wanted to pursue the same dream here in German, Berlin. It was a big hurdle because of the language barrier. And the major reason why I came to German was because of my partner. My wife is coming from German, so I came to join her, but also I had a desire for personal growth and to find a new perspective for my life. That's why I came to German. Yeah, and also working in a financial sector as a Black person has been a challenging but also rewarding journey for me. I've faced a couple of hurdles in my entire journey, but I've also met a lot of people. It has exposed me to a lot of people, like, for example, you, Gladys. So I'm really happy to share my story. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicholas. And viewers, I should also mention, he did not only meet me, he brought Tish along with him, who today both of us, Nicholas and I, are presenting you Tish, who is an IT expert, as I said before. And Tish, please, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your journey? Please mention your country of origin as well.
Thank you, Gladys. My name is Tichaona Kadzinga, Tich for short. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. I came to Germany 17 years ago. I came to study. I studied telecommunications engineering, and currently I work as a software engineer. And yes, the journey to come to Germany was not without its problems. I experienced a very rough time during my studies where I was studying. I know people know East Germany is not a very nice place for foreigners, so this is where I was studying, unfortunately. And but now I live in Berlin, and things are much better, and I can focus on my work and also my project, which I will present later on. Yeah.
So what inspired you to come to Germany? How did you inspire yourself to come to study in East Germany?
Well, you know how it is when you see BMWs, Mercedes, and all these other German brands. You are curious to know where does this engineering come from, and so I researched about coming to study in Germany, and yeah, I also learned that education is a basic right. So especially university education. I also think primary education is also tuition free. So of all the places in the world, then that also was a motivator to come, was a very strong, attractive motivator to come here because, well, if the tuition is free, I mean, learning for free in a world-class university, that is an offer that I couldn't turn down. Yes, so I ended up coming here to Germany. But of course, I mean, with the caveat that you have to learn the language. So most courses during my time were mostly offered in German. Yes.
So you mentioned how difficult it was coming into the east part of Germany. Like now we are united. We call it the new Neue Bundesländer, the new part of German, because we merged. Can you tell us a short experience that you would like to mention? How difficult, as you mentioned? Can you tell us a short one?
Well, I've had a lot of experiences while just walking in the street. Somebody expresses their discontent with your presence there, and they make racist remarks. The last thing that actually made me really want to move away was that I was traveling. I was on my way to Berlin during the World Cup to watch the World Cup with friends in Berlin. And while at the train station, just a random stranger started telling me to go back to Africa, that I was a monkey, and all sorts of insults, and even used the N-word. Then I was a little bit upset, by all this, and so I wanted to call the police, and for this I needed a witness. So I went to the nearby McDonald's there. There were people who were sitting and who were watching, and they had seen what was happening and heard also what was happening. And I went there with the intention to ask them to be witnesses because I wanted to call the police. And when the police come, maybe they would want to have witnesses, eyewitnesses. So I asked them if they could be witnesses, and they said no, they were not interested. And this is what actually made me really upset and sad. Not that the man was insulting me. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, that's very, very sad. And these experiences, sorry to say, they are more often. We hear about these experiences more often, and that is the reason we are showcasing diaspora achievements. That's the more reason what you're embarking on gets more weight. It becomes more important. And viewers, I have to read this because what Tich is about to present is something for experts, for IT experts. Tich is currently building a prototype of a solar-powered gnodeB. A gnodeB or gnodeBs are components used in 5G mobile networks and are currently developed by companies like Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei, Bicels, and others. Some call this technology sophisticated. As I understand with my layman's knowledge, he's working on a sustainable solution for rural areas in so-called third world countries or sub-Saharan regions. Although with my own thinking, I think we could also use this equipment in Alaska, in Siberia, and other remote locations. What really impresses me or wants me to present it today is that he's building an equipment, a product for Africa, made by an African for the African market or the African use. This sounds controversial, but people, when you hear what Tich went through during his studies and all this, you can understand why this is something he's doing from his heart. But Tich, I will give it to you. Explain for us what this is, what this prototype can do, how it can be delivered, and how it's going to support the African market. I'm really curious to hear what you're going to present us.
Yes, so like you said, I'm building a prototype for a solar-powered gnodeB. The project is called NARE, and the gnodeB, like she mentioned, is used in 5G networks, and it is a component that is needed by mobile network operators to deploy their networks. So usually this equipment is very expensive. Like she mentioned, these European companies that make it, and also maybe the Chinese companies that have started to make this also. Their focus is mostly on the urban areas and not so much the urban European areas, or their market. Those are their markets. And what I'm trying to build is something that can be deployed by mobile network operators in Africa, where they have a different reality. We have most of our population is mostly sparsely populated in rural areas, and there's no sometimes there's no constant electricity, there's no constant power, there's no power grid, it's off grid. So this device will be solar powered, and it can serve maybe roughly 65 people, and maybe 65 to 100 people. And I'm still trying to figure out what the ranges would be while using solar power. So that's why I'm actually developing this prototype to find out the key parameters of operation. Yes.
Okay, this prototype. How long have you been working on this? And with how many people have you been on this project?
I've been working on this for roughly 2 years now, and I've been working this as the sole developer of this. I'm the only person who's been working on this project for now. And I'm actually looking forward to joining hands with other engineers who have a passion for developing telecommunications projects. And so I do this in my spare time, because I have a full-time job, and I would like to make this my full-time activity. Not that I do it as a hobby, or because it is pressing, and yes, I would actually like to make a real product that can be deployed on the market. And for this, I would need a team that is strong.
What
And
I hear out is that it's pressing, there's a need for it. What inspired you to, or what kind of urgency inspired you to start this project?
well, it is very simple. My mother is this person that I'm talking about, and I want to talk to my mother. And while I'm here in Germany, I cannot communicate very well with my mother, who stays in a rural place in Zimbabwe. And this is because they do not have what you call the base stations in the rural areas where my mother is, and there's no reliable network there. So I would like to just talk to my mom when and yes, I'm sure there are a lot of you who experience what I'm talking about, that communication with people who are in the rural areas is very challenging.
Yes, I can second that. My parents live in a rural village, and I am on board with you with this one because I would love to talk directly to my father. I would like to talk directly to my mother, but because of the network, it breaks up and you don't talk. And I feel sometimes I don't call because I feel when it breaks up, I get so frustrated that it's
Yes.
better not to talk than this broken way.
Hmm.
But
Yes.
now I'm quite curious and I'm really interested. You're talking about a prototype. Can you show me? Do you have a demo? Could you tell us? Could you show the viewers what this thing looks like, what it can do?
Today I cannot demonstrate. I have not prepared a demonstration for the functionality, but it looks like this. This is an off-the-shelf software-defined radio, which can be programmed. There are two things that can be. I mean, you can program this on a computer, or you can program it directly on the chip, which is on the device itself. So what I'm working on is actually the programming of the chip, which is on the device. There's a chip that is in here that I'm actually programming, and once this is done, then like all these assumptions and things like how much power is needed and how many connections can we have at any given time. This is something that you can only find out when you have developed a prototype. So
Can you
yes.
show us just again so that anybody seeing, they see that it's not a very big, it looks very small, and you're telling me it's going to cater for 65 people, 60 to 65 people.
Yes, so you would then need, for this, you would then need to put amplifiers and stuff like this so that it can serve for a radius of maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 kilometers. Yeah, depending. So you would then, instead of these small antennas, then you would have bigger bidirectional antennas and so on, yeah.
Okay, now for curiosity's sake, if your mother inspired you, do you have a part of this prototype that you're currently using to talk to her, or is this project going to wait until you've had the deliverables before you can directly talk to your mother?
Yes, unfortunately, for me to talk to my mom, then there has to be a product which the MNO with the mobile network operators can actually deploy and use. Yeah, a solar powered base station or gnodeB, exactly. So the product has to be there so that it has to happen. So you can sense the urgency. It has to happen like yesterday.
Yes, and for me now, you've given me the urgency, and I think to Nicholas as well. Nicholas, what do you think? You have the urgency to have it in Uganda as well.
Me too. Yeah, I one of my important people in my life is my grandmother, and she really lives far away from the network. I'll be really happy to communicate to her because it means so much to me. And I believe there are so many people in the same category we are talking about. When I look back home, the mountains where the network can't be reached, I think if we have a product made by a person who has been experiencing these challenges and knows better how to serve the people, then it's a good thing on the market. So it's really nice.
Yes, I'm really, really happy to have been part of this discussion. I have a very short question for you, Tich. Who was your inspiration while growing up? Who was your role model? Who sparked all this technical, who did you look up to?
I can tell you my curiosity for technical for computer stuff, and this was that I wanted to have cheap internet. So I started researching on how to do that, and that's how I got interested in actually programming and networking and stuff like this. And also, there is a well-known Zimbabwean entrepreneur who brought the first mobile network in Zimbabwe. His name is Strive Masiwa, and he's the owner of the I don't know if he's the network company called Econet in Zimbabwe. It was the first mobile network operator in Zimbabwe. He has inspired me to go in the direction of doing telecommunications. Yes.
So, Mr. Fred Masiwa, if you're listening, if anybody knows Mr. Masiwa,
Strive Masiwa is his name.
Strive Masiwa, if you're listening, if anybody knows this man gave this boy a vision, and this vision is bearing fruits. And maybe he might want to be part of this journey. Maybe the best thing is look him up and say, look what you did. These are the results. And I'm praying that something great will come out of this. And thank you so much for being part of my podcast, being part of this community. Viewers, here is Tish, who is going to revolutionize African telecommunication. Maybe we'll be able to reach our grandparents in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, in Kenya, and wherever, Somalia, and other very remote locations. I thank you for listening in, and thank you for coming in, Nicholas. Thank you for bringing Tish, who was a beautiful prototype, and looking forward to meeting you once again once this thing gets off the ground. Thank you.
Thank you
for
to
having
Gladys
me.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.